Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, February 20, 2025. Jamaica is not in a recession, notwithstanding a downturn in economic output, says Director General of the Planning Institute of Jamaica, Dr. Wayne Henry. He weighed in on the matter, which has been the source of much public discourse during the PIOJ's quarterly economic performance review briefing yesterday. Dr. Henry acknowledged that the country does meet one of the conditions for a recession, having recorded a decline in seasonally adjusted real value-added GDP for both the April to June and July to September 2024 quarters. But he says the use of GDP alone to determine a recession is insufficient, and other economic indicators such as income, employment, and fiscal health must also be taken into consideration.
Despite the temporary contraction in output, the labor market continues to remain robust and may be considered a lead indicator of a return to growth in the short term. This is also supported by the most recent data on business and consumer confidence levels, which indicate positive sentiments by both consumers and businesses regarding current and future economic prospects. It is therefore the PIOJ's assessment that the Jamaican economy, though facing a downturn in economic output, is not in a recession.
The October 2024 labor market survey shows Jamaica's unemployment rate at 3.5%. The unemployed labor force stood at 51,300 persons, while the employed labor force was 1,417,000. Meanwhile, the PIOJ is reporting that economic prospects for the short to medium term are positive, with the Jamaican economy expected to return to growth for the first quarter of 2025. Growth in the range of 0.1 to 1% is projected for the January to March period.
This performance will be supported by continued growth in the economies of Jamaica's main trading partners, which augurs well for increased external demand, higher domestic demand stemming from increased employment levels, increased economic activities spurred by higher levels of business and consumer confidence as firms continue to invest to meet higher domestic and external demand, and continued recovery in the industries that were most significantly impacted by the hydrological events, and that's expected to reduce the drag on growth.
This contrasts with an estimated 1.8% contraction in real value added for the last quarter of 2024 and 0.9% for the calendar year. Despite the positive outturn expected for January to March, the last quarter of the 2024-2025 fiscal year, decline is also projected for the fiscal year in the range of 0.5 to 1.5%. But the PIOJ's Director General says this is likely to be reversed shortly.
The primary reasons for these quarterly contractions were the shocks to the economy as a result of Hurricane Beryl in July 2024 and the subsequent hydrological events, including Tropical Storm Raphael in November 2024. Given the nature of these shocks, it is likely that the impact will be temporary and will be reversed in the near term.
Government is expecting to make a $10 billion dent in the outstanding taxes owed to the state while offering relief to more than 30,000 taxpayers under the Special Arrears Settlement Program. On Wednesday, Minister of Finance and the Public Service Favour Williams revealed that the government is owed approximately $139.3 billion in outstanding taxes, along with associated penalties, interest, and surcharges. 42.5% of the arrears are more than 7 years old, and Jamaica's tax arrears currently stand at 23%, more than double the global standard of 10%. The Special Arrears Settlement Program, which is being implemented by the TAJ, is designed to both address this and provide relief to taxpayers.
We believe that the Special Arrears Settlement Program will alleviate the financial burden on taxpayers by providing an opportunity to clear their debts without the additional costs typically associated with late filing and payments. By waiving these extra charges, the program promotes timely compliance and supports taxpayers in achieving financial stability that will foster continued voluntary compliance.
The program, which covers several tax types, allows taxpayers in arrears to pay their outstanding principal balance by March 31. Those who meet the deadline will have their interest, penalties, and surcharges waived by the government. Earlier this week, Tax Administration Jamaica TAJ reported that it had already collected over $3 billion in principal arrears since the program's launch approximately 3 weeks earlier. The program is targeting $10 billion in debt stock. The government is set to implement 3 key interventions to stabilize the egg industry this year. This is due to the ongoing pressure the industry faces following the devastation caused by Hurricane Beryl, which struck in July of last year. The storm resulted in the loss of 43,000 laying hens, significantly impacting the country's domestic egg production. Minister of Agriculture Floyd Green outlined the government's plans to address the shortage during yesterday's post-cabinet press briefing at Jamaica House.
What we're planning to do and what we've started to do is to target our large-scale users of eggs and to allow them to be able to import liquid eggs, especially for our baking and hospitality industry, so that will allow more whole eggs for local consumers. We are not allowing the importation of whole eggs. It would have to be liquid, it will have to be powdered, and it will only be for our hospitality sectors or our baking sectors.
The Agriculture Ministry will also collaborate with major poultry producers, such as Jamaica Broilers and Caribbean Broilers, to source hatching eggs from international markets, including Belgium and the Netherlands. Additionally, a partnership will be formed with the Jamaica Egg Farmers Association and the Jamaica Hotel and Tourist Association to better anticipate demand, particularly from bakeries and the tourism sector. Despite the challenges, Minister Green expressed optimism that the industry would return to pre-Hurricane Beryl production levels by July 2025, assuming no further major disruptions occur. And finally, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness is now in Barbados for the 48th regular meeting of CARICOM. The grouping is scheduled to discuss geopolitical issues impacting the region and securing member states' prosperity. Ahead of the Prime Minister's participation in the discussions, he held bilateral talks with his counterpart from Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Keith Rowley. Prime Minister Holness also met with the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres. Dr. Holness will also join in on discussions with the President of the European Commission, Secretary General of the Commonwealth, the Caribbean Development Bank, and the Development Bank of Latin America and the Caribbean. And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.